Hello, so again, I'm Krina Patel working on memory collages in my studio. I invite you to work alongside me. In the last episode, I was working on the umbrella theme of significant event. In my case, I had chosen the immigration experience or the immigration, the time I immigrated to the United States, and I had started working on a collage of that. I had a collection of images, but it's no surprise that after I had begun making the sketches and thinking and looking through my images, including the image of the pigeon and some more words I collected like hello and free speech, I decided to go a completely different route. I decided to actually do something abstract. I'm still working on it, but I'm pretty sure that I am now going to do something around a map of the United States. I'm going to do something around a flag. You know, like I said, the important thing is to sit with your emotions and think about the mood. And in the last episode, I talked about the mood. I talked about how I was excited about being in the United States, in coming to a new home, a new culture, a new place, but I was also kind of sad at losing my first home. So I want to convey both those things. I want to have a little bit of the United States and a little bit of India. My style is really I try to keep it very simple. So what I've decided to do is I'm debating about, I know I want the United States flag, so I collected the colors. And these are red is an exciting color, blue is an exciting color. So I collected the colors and also the visual element of lines. You know, these flag has the lines and the wavy lines, and so it'll add to the collage. I collected a map. I have two different options for maps. One is very graphic. It's still representational, but it has a little bit of abstraction in it because of the dots. So again, another visual element of dots and lines. And I have a real map, which is symbolically, of course, a map is always a symbol, or it's not the real thing. But this one does have, you know, it's more representational than this, if you will. So I have these two maps that to choose from. I have a whole bunch of stars that my friend Jim helped me cut out from an old magazine about astronomy. So I have all these stars, Star Spangled Banner, hello, and free speech. I'm not sure I'll use these words anymore. Hello is a nice thing to use, hi, but I'm not going to use that now. Okay, so so as I said, I was going to work on this is 8.5 by 11 paper just for sketching. My paper for the collage is my paper, or rather the surface, because this is paper, but it's thicker paper. You see, it's thicker paper because you need thick paper to. I like the sound. Oh, okay, no distractions. Okay, I like the sound of the paper, but we have to work on this paper now. So this is 11 by 15, I think. Yeah, it's 11 by 15, I'm pretty sure. This is just regular watercolor paper. You can use a you can use a cardboard that you might have at home, cut out those Amazon boxes, you know, and use that as the surface on which you will stick your image. So I'm going to go with the map. I'm going to first try out this map, the real one. Now is the time to actually place it and see how it looks. Oh, I like the red very much. I think 2 should be enough. And then the stars. Oh, what kind of a star is that, Jim? No, that's better. Star. Ooh, that looks like a big bang, not a star. Well, kind of. It's too big, can't use that. All of us, I feel, have a visual sense or an aesthetic sense, if you want to call it that. and you can just eyeball it, and some things look good to some people, some things don't look good to some people. It's all up to you. But the idea is to make something beautiful from what we have here. It's like a metaphor for life, isn't it? But okay, some other time. We are going to talk about art right now. But art really, you know, I always feel there's so many things we can learn from making art about how to be in life as well, or how to design our lives, or how to make our lives artistic. But so far I have this. I think I'm going to switch out this map bit over here. Luckily, I have another option. I'm going to switch out this. We use that other map, and this map better be cut better. It's not cut properly. It's like, oh wow, we have to cut it fine, which is where my fine scissor will be very handy, if I can only remember where I put it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I think we should do a little bit finer job of cutting this with my fine scissor. Okay, right now I'm just going to try it out first if I want this, otherwise it's a waste of time, you know, just cutting it. I'm going to do this. I think we're going to cut this. We're going to trim this, and we're going to do this. I like this very much. I like the dots and the lines, visual elements, dots and lines, and they are important in making a picture. And I think in this I have both of them. It's a great example of how lines and dots are being used, and shape is being used. The star shapes are being used. I like my collage. I think I'm just going to keep it simple. I think I'm going to do, I haven't stuck it down yet, so I have time to change my mind. And you know, the artists change their mind all the time. You just know it in your body. You just know it in your bones when you have finished a piece of work. You'll just know it. But I think I'm going to stay with the simple thing because it conveys the excitement. Clearly says it's the United States. If I can only cut out this map better, which is where I immigrated to. And for the Indian part, I'm going to write some words because I did not use the hello and free speech, but I'm going to write some words in my language on the map, sort of an overlay, you know, India and the United States kind of coming together to make me an Indian American. So what I'm going to do is I have to look in my personal pile to find some words written in my language. And I'm going to do that. But I also don't have to find words written in my language in a magazine or anything. All I can do is just write it down myself with a pen, which is what I am going to do. So I love I love fountain pens, and they're great because the reason I love them is because I can draw with them as well. So I'm going to just, but I'm going to write the words in pencil first, because what if I have to erase them? I'm going to write India, maybe. No, I don't think I want to write India. That's an English word written in a different script. How about I just write my name? I'll write my name for now. Yeah, that's nice. I don't think I want it there though. I want it somewhere else. But anyway, that was a good practice. So I'm going to keep continuing to work on my collage, and I am actually now going to invite my friend Petra, who has also been working on a significant event in my life, and hopefully she's followed the same instructions that I gave her, the same process as I have followed. But let's see, she might have a different process. So I'm going to put this aside, and I will also share my ideas about this with Petra. But right now I'm going to see what she's been working on. So let's see that. Petra, how do you say your last name?
Dankova.
Petra Dankova. She's actually a very talented artist, but she doesn't like to call herself an artist. But I do think that everybody, if they pay attention and put their mind to it, can express themselves creatively. And that's what Petra does very well. She expresses herself creatively, even in small things. Like last year, I asked her help to help me do floor design that we do in India during the festival. And Petra and her daughter Emma were very creative. They gathered leaves and we made a design on the floor with leaves. It was so beautiful that we didn't want to sweep it away after a few days. So I asked Petra to help me by making a memory collage alongside me, and we picked the umbrella theme of significant events, and then Petra used the same strategy that I've been using. We made a list of memories of a significant event, and I don't know if you did it, but I asked you to set a timer for 10 minutes. I think I forgot to ask you maybe. But how long did it take you to make a list of the memories?
I think it didn't take longer than 10 minutes.
It didn't take longer than 10 minutes. So how many things did you get? Tell me more about this. What did you do? So what is the significant event you picked?
So I picked like birth of my daughter and her childhood so far.
Yeah. How old is Emma now?
She's now almost 9
Okay.
years old. And it's definitely like the biggest event of my life, right?
Of course.
So I started to brainstorm and I went through some photos that reminded me more of the things.
You know, photos, right? So I always say that engage your senses. So when you want to remember something, think of that time. What was the food you were eating? What were the smells? And photos can help you do that, right? So it took you back to that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wrote down things like playing in the sand pit with my daughter. So, I don't know, like bright, because the sand is bright, and it was such a beautiful picture anytime I took a photo. So then I had like going to show openings, forest walks with Emma in a scarf. I would like tie her and go in the forest.
One of those scarves you wear. There's a word for it, like a
Yeah.
And you put a baby inside.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And we were like one body connected.
Yeah.
And we went mushroom picking, because I come from the Czech Republic and we do mushroom pickings all the time there, so.
Lots of, you mean you go to the forest?
Yes.
To pick mushroom?
Yeah. I put horse riding because she had a chance to go on, to go horse riding many times in her life. It's a short time, but she was lucky.
So wait, why did you, there are horses in Czechoslovakia?
No, my friend has a horse. She was like a horse rider. So she just always offered, anytime we went visiting, she offered her.
Oh, I see. So your friend doesn't have a horse farm though. She just has a horse.
She has a horse and she rents the farm.
Oh, she rents the farm. Okay.
Yeah. And then like some baking, I put breastfeeding, swinging on the swing, because also like when you go to the playground with a child, like this is like one of the most favorite activities. Right?
Yeah, I know. Even I love to swing in the park even now.
And like things like hair brushing, and playing with pets. We always had a cat when she was small, and we had a pet rat. So biking, tenting, camping, and
it just started coming, right? The memories. Once you start making a list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many. Like, did you count how many you wrote?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
20.
Decorating, we were very creative all the time.
Right. And this was less than 10 minutes. You came up with these 20 items. Yeah. I did the same thing. It's so many memories, once you start. So then what did you do? Did you remember I said that when you have a list, then you select a few things from it? Mm-hmm. Did you do that?
I was like picking, like circling them,
you circled them.
Yeah. I was like, this is more like symbolic, or this is more important. And then I just in the middle, little bit chaotically started to sketch.
Oh, you started sketching right there?
Yes.
I was saying in the last episode that there are two ways of doing it. One is you can sketch it out, or you can also just take the different elements and lay them out. Or you can do what Petra did, a combination. She started writing the memories and she also started giving them visual form at the same time. So just there are myriads of ways of doing this. But yeah, great. I see the sketch over there.
It's far from the result.
But and that's true. You do something and then the final piece is completely different, right? And you can change your mind as you go. So then what did you do after you circled the memories?
Well, when I did that, bigger
Bigger sketch of
sketch,
that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to like sort of frame it in, that was like, because that picture of Emma like swinging was so strong
Yeah.
for me. I had it like with my mom there, so I was like, oh, that's so pretty. She was wearing a crown, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. So I wanted to frame it like in that swing, to put the swing structure there and her on the swing. And then I wanted to put the horse in the middle, but then when I started to think more and more, I felt like we don't have a horse. It's not the central thing.
Right,
So,
because the horse
yeah.
is really big in the
Yes,
sketch, right?
yeah.
The
So-
horse is not that important.
yeah. And also, I didn't find any big horse in the magazines. I like to work with the magazines, like two pics.
Big pictures from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So, oh, I see.
Like
So wait,
random magazines.
so but I have a question for you. Did you do the drawing before you started looking into the magazines, or did you do the drawing after you looked at the magazines?
Before. This one I started to do before because I felt like, well, let's see, like I wanted to have that concept. Like,
Oh, so you made a, see, that's very interesting because I know how to draw quite well because I've practiced for years and years. But even then, I don't normally start with the drawing. I start by looking at the pictures, you know? I look at old magazines and newspapers, and then I start looking at the pictures, and then I'll be like, you know, I was looking at this magazine, and the one I think I gave you also, I lent it to you. And then I found this picture, and I was like, oh, I can use this for a childhood memory. So I don't, sometimes I start by drawing, and sometimes I'll just start by using the images directly. So it looks like you started by drawing first.
At this
This one you did.
yes.
Yes.
But the other one it was a little bit different.
Different, right? And then you started looking for a picture of the horse? Did you not need it?
Well, I was looking through the magazines and starting to looking for the things I wrote down and sketched. And yeah, I found something, and then I didn't find certain things.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that seesaw and that bike. Because I found a bike, but
You
then I
did.
was like, maybe, well, like, I realized that the bike is somewhat a seesaw too, because when you pedal, you have one pedal up and the other one is down.
Right. I didn't think of that like a seesaw.
Yeah. And also the bike wheel is sort of a seesaw too, because when one part is down and the opposite one is up. So then it reminded me of the circle of the life. You know.
Oh wow, you just went off. See, this is what I love about collage making. You can just, you know, it becomes a metaphor for life. It becomes, like in your case, it was the birth of her daughter and then the wheel of life. It's just so fascinating, isn't it? So then what did you do? You made the sketch, you looked through magazines, and then what?
So I found certain things, right?
So these are all your sketches?
Yeah, this is actually the first one.
Oh,
yeah,
first and second. Like I said, you don't really have to be a major artist. You just make a rough sketch, and then this one here with a horse in the middle is one, and then you came up with the final piece.
Yes.
Okay. Oh wait, this is a completely different piece.
Yes.
This is a completely different piece than this.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Tell me.
You see, I put lots of smiles
Yes.
in my first sketch.
Yes, that was the emotion.
Yeah.
Because we talked about how you have to think of the emotions when you're remembering what are the emotions, and you were having happy thoughts.
Yeah, it was like
It's not only happy, with some sad, some happy.
Of course,
Of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
It's a
And,
mix.
and that's also the circle, like of with children. Like they are happy and suddenly sad.
Yeah.
They are healthy and suddenly sick, and it's like still. So that's that circle.
For now, this is just like, you know, you can see that this design is completely different from the sketch that she did, but as Petra pointed out, there are many elements of that still in it, right? So tell me, describe what you did here.
So the framing is now done by the circle.
Okay, got it.
And the circle is filled with lots of smiles. There is a sign saying joy at the bottom, accompanied by a smile, and there are little dots there.
And there's a smile.
Yes. And the
I've got a smile here too. And
Yes.
here. Oh my goodness, the whole thing is smiles.
Yes, it's just because, and it's very important for my daughter. It was like, oh, Mom, why don't you smile?
Oh,
So
I see. I see.
it's
Okay.
really, and it has like 4 parts. Maybe it can symbolize like maybe like a year with 4 seasons, or
To symbolically see, yeah.
different times. You know, I have this sunrise, or is it a sunset? Maybe both. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be.
And it symbolizes like 2 important routine times for a child, right? When you wake up and when you go to sleep. It's
Yeah.
full of routines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like it's
And you know, very interesting you said it's full of routines, because even visually, compositionally, she has a very formal composition here. She has 4 equal parts. The paper is divided into 4 equal parts. It's a formal composition with a circle right in the middle. It almost like, it tells me about the routine, you know, like in a paper, in a rectangle, 4 smaller rectangles and a circle in the middle. Okay, wow.
the 2 parts, or actually all of them represent kind of nature. I have that little horse there for him.
Oh my goodness, okay. So from this big horse is now into this tiny little horse over here, right? I love it. I love that.
That represents the reality more. So the second part is like nature, trees, and I added a tent there because we were camping a lot with our daughter. Another part is the swimming pool, or whatever it is. I found the sign splash down, so I put it there because learning to swim was very important for Emma,
Oh, okay.
especially when we moved here because there's ocean and we were so scared, so we wanted her to know how to swim. And she has a passion for fishing, so
All right.
So
Fishing. I
I
mean, Milan takes her fishing.
yes, they go fishing together. And it was actually, I didn't expect to find a fish, but they were there.
They were there. In one of the magazines.
See?
So you just you did something like what I do. Like I said, I look through magazines and I'll find a picture that'll remind me of something, so I'll cut it out. And so you had a sketch, but you also use the strategy of looking through magazines and finding, you can look through magazines and find pictures that sort of say, oh, that reminds me of something, and use that. That's what you did here.
Yeah, and then we have the joy, and they're like, see those little dots there?
Yeah.
And they are like, I imagined that those are the hormones that filled my body with happiness, and everything.
Filled your body with happiness when your child was born. Yeah.
Yes. And then, like, you see these.
She looks like your daughter. She looks like your daughter.
She does,
But she's not.
she's not. She's not. She's just a random girl from a random magazine.
But she represents your daughter.
She does.
See, I had spoken about the 3 styles: representational, symbolic, and abstract. And Petra has used at least 2 of the elements: representation. Although she has substituted a photo of some other child that she found in a magazine for her daughter's photo, which makes sense, and for privacy reasons and all kinds of reasons. And then she's used symbolic too. Like the whole picture is symbolic, right, of the wheel of life and everything.
And in a certain way, I feel like it's also. It can represent any children's life.
Yeah, any child. Oh, so yes, exactly. So you actually, not so much for privacy concerns, but you also use the photograph of like you said, a random child from a random magazine because you want to represent all children, and this,
Might be, but-
yeah, like the wheel of life and the joy of childhood should be available or should encompass or include all children.
Yeah.
Nice. I like the sentiments behind this. Okay, so that is your collage of a significant event in your life, as well as the theme of significant event in the life is interrelated with another theme, and that theme is people, family and friends. It's also related to the theme of activities and objects. So all these umbrella themes are kind of definitely interrelated. But when we select one, then it kind of just focuses us, or it's like a prompt, it's called, it prompts us to think of a certain period of our life and certain things that happened in that period. So that's Petra Dankova's first collage. She has also worked with me to make another collage, but right now we are going to, actually I want to share my collage with you. Can I share my collage with you?
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the significant event in my life, and I chose the immigration experience. You know, it's very big in our lives, like coming to another country, and I still remember the day I came. It was in March, and my sister came to pick me up at the airport, and I came to JFK. And the first thing that struck me was about how big everything was, like the arrival hall, and then coming out of the arrival hall, and the big expressway, the Van Wyck Expressway or something we were on. I can't quite remember the names, but we went into Queens, where my sister lived, and the roads looked big and not many people were around. And so that was my first day. And then I remember going to Manhattan for the first time and coming out of the subway, 59th Street subway, and looking up, and oh my God, it was like, I'm in a movie. Like, it was just like these big skyscrapers, and just like I had seen in the movies. So it was quite exciting. But, you know, I mean, you have also come from another country. There's this sort of feeling of sadness for having left something behind. And in my case, you know, my parents were there, and my friends, and I was having such a good time there. And then to come here, and here it was like work, because, you know, as soon as I came, I didn't start working, but, you know, I was at home for the first few months, and then I remember trying to speak like American people, you know, like going from my sister's house to the subway and walking and sort of speaking to myself. And it was sort of a very lonely and crazy experience, because you're talking to yourself and you're trying to be like an American person, you know, and trying out the accent. And then I remember that. So I decided to make a collage about that. And so I did something which is kind of different from you. What I did was I just looked through magazines. I had my list of memories, and then I looked through magazines, and I said, if something strikes me, then I will take it. So what struck me was a map of the United States, and it's very colorful, you know, I love colors. So I had the map of the United States. Then I found another map. So I said, I'll use this map. I can't decide, should I use this or should I use this?
Maybe both.
Maybe both. Then I found this like words, like you used words in yours, right? So I used words also. Like I found this word hello, and I found the word welcome, and then, you know, I really was looking for a flag. Like you were looking for a horse and you couldn't find a horse. I was looking for a flag and I couldn't find a flag.
But you have something here.
Yeah, so then I decided I was going to make my own flag. So, you know, the American flag, we better know it, right? Remember in the citizenship exam, we have all kinds of questions they ask us.
Those are stars with stars.
Stars with stars, yeah. So these are stars. The astrology magazine, I think you gave it to me. So Petra gave me an astrology magazine, an old one. So I looked through the magazine and cut out stars from stars. I cut all these stars from stars. Lots of stars from stars. Then the blue, there's the American flag has red, blue, and white. So lots of stars, and then here are the stripes of the flag. Now, one way to do it is like make a drawing like you did, and like you did the framing, you know. I always like to begin with the background. You know, I like to begin with the background always, and then I also like to do the framing. That's just part of the visual element, you know. Shapes, lines, those are visual elements. Colors are visual elements, and then how in composition, you figure out how you want to frame it, how you want to do bring all of that together. So I like to have a background, and then I like to have a frame. So I'm still working on it, trying to figure out how I want to do it. But I'm thinking I'll do some stripes like that. I'm not sure if I'll use this welcome right in the middle. I don't know. What do you think? You like?
Yeah, I mean, the welcome can be like part of the central center. If you have that welcoming
Feeling.
at the beginning,
At the beginning, yeah.
or maybe you can join it like that. Hello is like maybe how you were trying to pronounce.
Oh, right.
the
Pronounce
hello.
the American way, like, hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Because no matter how I say hello, it still sounds
Czech.
Slavic. Yeah.
Hi says hello, it still sounds Indian.
Yeah.
All right.
I can imagine like having those two like connected with one of the stripes.
All right.
Like those.
Hello,
crickets or
like that, right?
something
Hello.
that.
Hello.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That will look good.
Yeah.
But
So you know what? I'm going to continue working on this, and I'm sure you want to see how it looks in the end, right?
definitely.
Yeah. I'm going to show you next time we meet.
Yes.
I'll show you how my my collage looks because I'm going to continue working. I have a feeling mine will also be completely different,
It's
just like
possible,
you.
right?
Just like from the horse to the wheel, mine is going to be. I think maybe it's going to be the same. I don't know. I definitely want the stripes and the stars. So that's what I do. So
Also, your pieces are usually very like simple
Yeah.
in a very clean way.
Yeah,
So
I do.
I can imagine that you won't even use these couple pieces.
I think you're right. You are right. So yes, my pieces are usually very sparse and very simple. Very like there are shapes in it, but there are lines. So I think you've guessed correctly. You've got into my mind and behind my eyes, and you're looking at it from my eyes. You're right. I think it's going to be a sparse piece, but we'll see. Surprise for the next time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Petra, for coming and sharing this, and I hope to see you again very soon for the next one.
I can't wait.